Hello and welcome to Psychotic Beep podcast. We're so excited to be with you here today. This is probably episode 9, season 2, Maris? Is it 9?
Yep, we have this one and one more for the season 2, yeah.
Okay, today is also my son Theo's 1 month birthday.
1 month.
One widow month with widow Theo. Okay, disclaimer, guys. I am currently burping him. See that? Yeah, he is eating. He's almost done eating, though. So you will hear some noises that we cannot edit out. You'll hear like little baby grunts. I know what you're thinking. Why can't Ted feed him? So my husband has, I don't know, completely screwed up his neck. And he's using, Marissa bought him some good treatments. He's using all of them like around the clock. But he fed him this morning and every movement was like, ugh. And I was like, okay, can I like help you?
Yes.
So I was like, I don't want to like leave him where, God forbid, I can't help him reach something and he'll just be like trapped like this. So I'm feeding him while Ted takes some more pills, Aleve, and relaxes a bit. So you're going to hear some noises that we can't edit out, and I do apologize, but we're happy to be here with you, and we're so excited that Theo's your month, and we're talking about some interesting parent-heavy topics about like anxiety, parenthood, and some hot topics we saw in the news. So we're going to dive right in. Marissa, kick us off.
So I just want to say welcome, Theo, to the podcast, our guest star today. Yay! First baby's podcast. Wow, he beat us all. He's impressive at a month old already on a podcast. Seriously.
What a go-getter.
Go-getter. Jerry would be so proud of her grandson.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're going to dive into a lot of topics today. First, the article we saw was on Jersey Shore Online, and it was titled School Changes Rule to Protect Kids with a Nut Allergy. The reason why we wanted to discuss this is because this actually was an article based off of a school near me. So I live in Barnegat, New Jersey, and this was the Barnegat school in the area. What happened was parents have a kid with severe allergy to nuts, so bad that the article quoted the mom saying how they realized it wasn't like the babysitter, right? A babysitter noticed, and it wasn't even like he ingested it. That's how bad it was. It was like he was kissed.
His toddler brother kissed him, and he had a reaction.
Yep, and it was really bad. Like they had to go to the ER. This isn't like, oh, okay, let's give him, some Benadryl. No. Like he could have died. So they kindly brought this to the school's attention, and now the school is thinking about having a nut-free policy to be safe for all kids, and just saying like, listen, like we live in at a time where we have so many nut-free alternatives and things that taste just like peanut butter that really isn't, that we don't really need to bring real peanut butter into school anymore to keep the kids happy. So like, let's just stick to alternatives, or even if your kids don't even like peanut butter at all, pack something else. Well, as with anything in life, this got backlash. And when me and Bridget were reading this article, we were really just taken aback as professionals, especially Bridget being a doctor, because some of the comments were just nonsensical. Honestly, I couldn't believe they actually wrote this in print for people to actually see, because again, you can't take this back. People screenshot, even if you delete it. But let me read one of what I was talking about, and you guys can see from our perspective why we were kind of like wincing and being like, oh, good Lord. So one person on Facebook in the Barnegat chatter wrote, the whole nut-free school policy that the school is doing is ridiculous. These kids can't be coddled. They need to learn how to control their allergy. All these soft kids. Bridget was cringing because control your allergy is not a thing. And as I'm sure any of our listeners know, because we all know you're all educated and smart and kind. So yeah. And also, again, this is a severe reaction. Not the kid needed Benadryl for some itchy patches. Like he almost died. His throat was closing. As a mother, my feel is that if your kid could die from it, I have no problem. I have no problem giving an alternative. It doesn't bother me. What kind of got me thinking, as a therapist, like, what? Why is this woman so angry that she decided these kids are soft and should control their allergy? Bridget, what's your thoughts?
The whole control your allergy thing, obviously we know that is not possible. It's an overreaction your immune system has to a stimulus that maybe it shouldn't, but fine. I just don't understand, because we live in this world where, Marissa, like every daycare that you looked at was nut-free pretty much? Like,
Every
okay, so daycares have already been nut-free for probably the last 5-10 years. Like that's normal, because they're so young. Obviously they can't speak for themselves and be like, I have a nut allergy. So nut-free school, nut-free zones, like all this is very normal. So it's just kind of like, where do you live, lady, that you think like this is some like a novel experience? And also, like, you would be saying something so different if it was your child.
Yeah.
And maybe you have a child with like an allergy and you say, oh, just send them to school with an EpiPen, Right. Okay. But they're so young that they don't fully understand that nuts, tree nuts, are in almost everything. You need to be able to read the label, all the fine print, processed in a facility that has nuts. Like, and
Mhm,
kids don't have that capability. They don't understand that, like, nuts touch almost everything manufactured.
mhm,
So, I mean, God forbid someone offers something homemade, let's say, and yeah, it
mhm,
might not have nuts in it, but what if the kid ate a peanut butter sandwich right before that? And now the
mhm,
counter had nut contamination. You just don't know. And these kids can't speak for themselves, like, be very discerning like adults are. So it's just wild to think, like, yeah, I'd rather let a child go into anaphylactic shock in school than just not send my kid to school with like a peanut butter sandwich.
mhm. I agree. Also, like, some of the comments were like, "Well, my kid's a picky eater. All he eats is peanut butter sandwiches. What am I supposed to do now?" And to that, I will say the article is pretty spot on when they say there's so many alternatives that taste the same now, because I obviously know from daycare sending me the sheet of the list of stuff, and they're readily available in your groceries. You don't have to go to a special grocery store for them. You could have the PB protein that you make. You could have wow butter, sunflower butter. So many that it's just like, I don't understand why you're giving the school a hard time. Okay, so your kid only likes peanut butter sandwiches, then switch him to one that tastes the closest to him that he likes, him or her, I should say, and then there you go. Problem solved. I really don't understand why these parents are freaking out. It's like they've never been told no before.
Preparation is key for things like this. Like, if the school is giving you advance notice and saying you need to find an alternative, that's fine. Now, I have a story actually that I forgot about. It just
Mhm,
popped in my head. And this is a situation where there was no advance notice. And I think this would I would still follow the rules. Obviously, I'm not a psycho person, but it would kind of tick me off a little. Okay, so I know a girl
mhm,
this is really common in Europe. You do what's called a ski season. So you travel like around Europe when you're not in uni, college, whatever, you have time off from school, and you go and do like a winter season abroad in like Switzerland, and you're like a chalet girl.
mhm,
So now if you work for the slopes, like you either train them or you like do rentals, like lessons, stuff like that, or you do like cooking and cleaning in a chalet for the family. So I know a girl who is really good friends with someone who did a ski season. She was a chalet girl, so she was going to like cook and clean for family. She has a severe nut allergy. She took over a cabin last minute because the chalet girl who was supposed to be there, like, I don't remember, got sick or something. So she had a week with a family with young kids. And like right before they were flying in, she was like, oh, by the way, I have a severe nut allergy. So like you can't have anything in the house. And they were like, oh shit, like we're traveling with young kids, and like peanut butter is not the best source of protein, but for kids it's like at least something. And like you're skiing, and like I think they were kind of banking on that, and it's a house like with a full kitchen, so you need to like go shopping and like fill it with food. And they messaged back kind of ticked off, and we're like, well, like we paid for it already and we're already have travel plans, and now like the couple days before you're telling us that like we can't have any nuts, like we have young kids, like what the frick.
mhm.
And this friend of the friend was telling the story to me and was like, I just think it's like really immature that they reacted that way. And I was like, I don't know. Like I wouldn't, I would probably say it to Ted. I wouldn't have said it to her. Like I
Right.
would have kept it to myself, but I would be a little ticked off too if I already paid for this. We already had plans, and now you're telling me, and I get it. It was like a last minute change, but I'd be like, oh, shit, like we need to really rethink how we're going to feed our kids this week. But I wouldn't have said it to her. Like they were messaging her, like kind of how you can message like a host through Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like I would have kept it to myself, but I definitely to Ted, I probably would have been like, oh, fuck, like we really need
Yeah.
to, shift things around now.
I would have definitely said it to John. I wouldn't have said it to the girl because I would just be grateful that they were able to replace the girl. Like, I don't want to have to do her job too. So yeah, I mean, it would have put a damper on my plans, but I would have quickly, like, that's the whole thing about being a mom, and any mother knows you live to learn how to like manage and juggle and switch things out and in last minute. Like, that's all you do. You're really good at it. So like, it is what it is. Like, it sucks, but like, would I have figured it out? Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Like you would have like figured it out, but you probably would have for a second been like, ah, shit.
Yeah, but that's a human reaction. I would not have messaged the girl nasty. I would have just been like, okay, thanks for letting me know. Vented to my husband while he helped me make a new game plan. That's all.
Yeah. But otherwise, like with school things, like they give you plenty of advance notice. When you're touring a daycare, they're like, by the way, there's a nut free facility.
Mhm.
Like it's not like they're springing it on you day one. You send your kid with a peanut butter sandwich and they're like, sorry, you're not eating today. Like everyone is aware that it's nut free, and it's so common nowadays. So
Mhm.
yeah, like I'm sorry. And to, make a child feel like it's their fault that they have an allergy. They already know it sucks. Maybe this kid liked peanut butter. Like they know it blows. They don't want to be the kid who can't have the Reese's cup. But that's unfortunately the where they are at. And I just think to make a child feel badly about that, like they're somehow punishing the rest of the school, is bullying. It is bullying. You're bullying a child, and that's pathetic.
I'm actually shocked that they wrote that in the chatter. So this is the chatter that I'm actually in, ladies and gentlemen, because it's our township chatter. And when I actually read it before this article came out, I remember looking at this woman's comment being like, oof, Jesus, who pissed in your Cheerios today? Jesus. But yeah, it's that the comments were uncalled for, and it's just like it is what it is. Move along. You don't have to like it, but you do have to adapt. The article did mention, which I found interesting, that the peanut allergies among children increased by 50% since the late 1990s. That's crazy.
Yes, and I am actually going to. So I think I've mentioned on this podcast before that Israel has the lowest nut allergy in the world, and it's because the first food that they introduced to their baby at between 4 to 6 months is it's called like bombas, or I don't know if I don't know the name brand, but they're basically little melt away peanut puffs, and it's
Mhm.
just a common snack that melts. So that's why it's not like they purposefully were like, oh, give peanuts to babies. They were just like, oh, it melts away, so kids it's like a perfect kids first snack, like puffs. And they have the lowest peanut allergy in the world, and I think it's because of the early exposure to nuts. I'm actually sorry, little baby. And I think a lot of the reason nut allergies did increase in the Western world, specifically like the US, is because for a while people were nervous because you were like, well, I don't know if my kid has a nut allergy and I don't want to expose them too soon. And then, God forbid, they have an anaphylactic reaction and die. But now the advice is if you come from like a high allergy family, to do early exposure. So, like
Yes.
when you're pregnant, have peanut butter as much as you can. When they're 4 months old, give them like a little bit of peanut butter, nut butter, see how they react. Obviously, your first reaction will be nothing because it takes a sensitizing event. So, the second time you introduce it, they'll have a reaction. But the advice is 4 months exposure if you come from a high allergy family, or if like your husband has a nut allergy, like, something like that.
Yeah.
So I think it has a lot to do with, though, in these early 2000s, people were just so terrified to give their kids nuts at such a young age, and then unfortunately you eat it so late in life that you've already developed a resistance to it now, or a
Yeah.
not resist, an overreaction.
I agree. And I mean, if Israel truly has the lowest, maybe we need to import some of those snacks and do what
I've
they're
had them; they're
doing.
good.
Maybe that's the key.
Yeah, that's what they say. Early exposure. It is a theory, obviously, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly getting so bad that Bridget, you just mentioned to me yesterday that they now announce it on every couple of flights you've been on, right?
Yes, bane of my existence because I'm just like, okay, I'm one of those people that like plans ahead for myself. So I pack myself. I don't know if anyone has these, but they're called perfect bars, and they are like 100% peanut. Like the first ingredient is peanuts. So I will like always pack a snack. God forbid, I just like don't like the airplane food or something. What if it's like a funky choice? So I
Mhm.
always have snacks on me. I'm like a big loser like that. If anyone
Mhm.
needs food, just check my pockets. So I about 2 years ago, I had friends visiting us in England, and they were telling us because they fly a lot for weddings, so domestic flights. They're like every domestic flight we get on lately, they make an announcement that you can't have nuts because there's someone on the flight with a nut allergy. And I was like, weird, but I'm flying internationally, so I'm like, I've never heard that. Since they mentioned it, it's like they put a jinx on me. Since they mentioned that about 2 years ago, I would say like 1 in 3 flights I take, I hear that announcement. And
Wow.
I'm always like looking at my perfect bar, like, ooh, I'm going to eat you soon. And then they announce it. And I'm like, damn it. And then I was looking up why specifically, like, because I was like, is it the recycled air or something? Like they think the peanut particles are floating. No, apparently it's because the shared bathroom facilities and the shared like railings,
Mhm.
armrests, whatever.
Yeah.
So if you eat something with nuts and then God forbid you go to the bathroom and you touch now the flusher, the hand of the door handle, all this stuff, and that person uses the bathroom, and if they truly have like a severe reaction, you don't have to ingest it to go into
Mhm.
anaphylaxis. Like you just have to touch nuts, basically.
Right, right.
So frustrating, but it's not their fault. But I am always like, God damn it.
But you know what's funny? I bet when the airlines announce, like, if they ever do, say if the airlines in the future, because our allergies just continually to be up in our country, and they say, you know what, airlines are nut free now. I don't think anyone would start commenting on that article like you should control your allergy. You're soft.
Oh, I bet you they would, Marissa. I bet you they
Oh my,
would.
that's insane. Like, it's not even a big deal. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many alternatives, people. Don't you eat other things besides foods with peanuts?
Apparently not. Peanut is life because that's what people make it sound like, that they only eat peanut butter jelly sandwiches or something. I mean, I don't know. I get it. It's tough for a kid, but kids are also very adaptable.
They are. They are. Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see what our future holds for the airline industry.
Remember when you used to like only get peanuts on a plane?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
tough
That's
now.
actually the part. Wow. The times have changed.
I know. They would never. They would never.
Now, if they see you try to swipe a single peanut in, you're getting banned.
Yeah. I know. I was like hiding my bars. I was like, oh my God.
Well, I mean, weren't you allowed to like smoke on planes? And you definitely
Yeah.
cannot now.
Yeah.
That's funny. We learn. We live and learn. We evolve, people.
We evolve. And then just eat the peanuts in the privacy of your own home.
Exactly. Or you're not killing anybody, you
Yep.
murderer.
Yep.
So I don't know why, but I just got a flashback to Horrible Bosses when his boss had a nut allergy and he
Yes.
broke into his house to put it in his shampoo bottle.
Yeah, and like didn't buy peanut oil, bought whole peanuts. It was like shoving like as if you wouldn't be like, why are there nuts in my
No.
conditioner? Like
Oh, sorry, that was a funny scene, but not funny if that was real life. But just
no, but funny seed, yeah.
funny movie. So yeah, so I wanted to also check in with you, Bridget, now that you're 30 days into motherhood. So why don't we, I think it'd be good if you could give maybe listeners who are either thinking about having their first kid or are on their first kid, and what has it been like 30 days? What's been hard? What's been easy?
Ooh, okay. 30-day check-in. So I'm incredibly lucky, and Mercer can attest to this. Like Theo is a very good newborn, but even good newborns require a lot of attention. Like you're still tired with the very best newborn. He's making it very easy for us though, but like you just need to get used to the fact that you're never going to sleep the same. Like you sleep so lightly, and he gets up for one night feed, literally one. Like he's so easy. It doesn't matter. Like there's a newborn grunt. Like they're always just like, he could be sleeping soundly. He's loud as fuck. Like I'm like, shut up. Like it's like sleeping with a snorer. So if your husband does not snore, your baby will. Like they just little too like they're just not quiet. So that's in your ear, and B, like you just sleep so lightly because your brain is now hyper like attuned to if he makes the slightest noise, I'm like and like I check on him. It's wild, but like and I'm not like an anxious mom. It's just like you hear everything now. Your
Mhm.
ears are just like spidey senses.
Yes, yes. And you're also like, I would feel like you're really in tune with your child, which is weird because when you're leaving the hospital, you're thinking, hello, you just gonna let me leave? I don't know what I'm doing. But then I feel like once you get home, you really get into a groove and you really, I just feel like it's like instincts. I can't explain it. You just,
Yeah, it's so weird because I'm like, I'm such a brand new mom, yet everyone like is asking, they're like, oh, so what do you want to like, do you want to feed him now? And I'm like, you're asking me? I'm like, I know jack shit, but like, I'm the decision maker now. So I'm like, yes, let's feed him. Like, it's kind of a guessing game, but also like, you do feel like you kind of know. And like, sometimes like someone else, like, let's say Ted will be like, oh, should we wake him up to feed him? And I'm like, no, not this time. Like, he's really sleep deprived, leave him. And I'm like, how do I know that?
but you do, you just know.
It's
You just
weird.
know. Yeah.
It is weird. So, like, definitely get used to less sleep. Get used to it being like so worth it though, because even like Marissa had a naughty little baby with her second one, but
Mhm.
still, like, right, you would say it's so worth it for like the newborn cuddles and just like the love that you feel for
Mhm.
them. And you had like a true colicky pain in the ass, but
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, no, she's still breaking my balls today, but no, he's adorable and obviously, absolutely the light of my life, even when she's trying to dim mine, it's fine.
that is Evelyn, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, and then get used to like the lack of mobility and freedom, not physical mobility, but like the idea of like just leaving your house to do something. Yeah, good luck. Like you need to make sure it's in between. If you're formula feeding, lucky bitch, but if you're not, then it's in between pumping, in between feeding, in
Mhm.
between his naps, and make sure he has a fresh diaper. Like so all of that has to align perfectly into like a golden window of time when you're like, leave now, get the stroller and go. Otherwise, like you just can't
Yeah,
get out of the house,
yeah.
which is frustrating. But sometimes that means like we go for walks at 6 at night, and we're like, well, the day's almost over, but we did it. We got out. It's fine.
Even
Yeah.
if you make in that window, sometimes a blowout happens and you go, motherfucker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So also just like unpredictability. Again, I'm incredibly lucky where like I'm here with very supportive parents and Marissa, obviously. So like we were able to go to a wedding on Saturday, first night out alone, which was weird. Like he was never concerned about Theo's like well-being because I'm like, Marissa's got this. But you are just like thinking about them all the time. And I'm like, why am I thinking about him? I'm trying to be out and like be with my friends. But like Ed and I were actually looking at photos of him at the table. And I was like, enough of that. We're done. But like, it's so weird. Like, your brain is just fixated on them now.
Mhm. Yes, absolutely. You finally become the people that are always showing too many baby photos, and they're like,
I
"Okay,
know. I
I have
know.
60 times in different positions."
Yeah.
I know, he's cute.
Oh, so lame. So lame. And like, I don't know, like in any other situation, I would have just like thrown a dress on, gone to the wedding and been like, yep, have fun. But it was just like planning the milk and, just like you miss that freedom kind of just being like, yeah, I'm only looking after myself and I'm an adult. So like, God forbid I forget something, like we'll figure it out. Like I
Yeah.
could forget my underwear. Like we'll be fine. Like we'll
Mhm.
survive. You cannot forget things with your baby.
No. A tip that I honestly enjoyed second time around is once we got that minivan, we stocked it with stuff that we know we could never go without. So like there's an we call it the van wipes. If you see where I'm going with that. So like essential items that maybe needed to be replaced and I didn't replace them in the diaper bag, or just, we were on the go and I was like, get in the car, and I needed it's just, you never know. Or if I told John and he thought he told me and there was a miscommunication and it wasn't packed properly. So we just had extra things in the back of our trunk, and boy did those wipes come in handy a few times.
I think I used your van wipes when we were at apple picking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love it. Love the van wipes.
That's a great idea. Okay, so when I get back to England, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have like a mini diaper bag that has
Mm-hmm.
wipes, diapers, maybe a bottle, like
Yep.
random shiz like that. Okay.
Emergency pack and go. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good thinking. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I hope anybody else who needs that tip can use it.
Yeah, that's a good thought. Because as it is, like we basically do that around the house. So like his bassinet has wipes and diapers and A and
Mhm.
D cream ready to go. The changing table obviously has that, and Gaga's bedroom has it. So like you never have to go like I'm going all the way to the front of the house. Our house is not big, by the way, but you know what I mean. Like in the middle of the night, you're already changing a diaper with one eye, and you're like, I'm so tired. Like you don't want to get out of bed, go all the way to the changing table, get that. You just want to like reach in, find one, and be like,
Yep. Agreed to that. Absolutely. Also, I would love to share with our listeners something that I never thought would happen. Bridget. So let me give you a little backstory if you don't know us personally. Bridget is the person that has always likes to be well dressed, whether that be like runway fashion outfit or even just beautifully put together J. Crew looking New England style classic girl. And she's always well put together. She always includes usually jewelry, light makeup, hair done. And even if she's always the girl that I would be home in like sweats with holes and stains, she would still, even just to come to my house and have a TLC smothered marathon, she would be fully dressed and makeup ready. And I'm like, you look so great. And I look like a shit stain. And she just couldn't. She couldn't understand why I was like that. She even threw some shade over the years. She was like, girl, like, love yourself. Put yourself together. And I'm like, fuck that, no. And then yesterday we had our Aunt Katie and our cousin Grace visit us. Miss you guys. And we were rushing because we knew they were on their way. And she's in her robe from middle school. It was like looked like you could buy it from Claire's. Shout out to Claire's if people don't know. And or like limited to, and she was like in her milking bra, underwear from the previous day, and her robe still. She forgot, I guess, to look down because she was like, oh god, I'm stressed. Oh yeah, and her hair was in a sloppy bun, setting the scene. And she's like, I'm so stressed, so at least I'm in my outfit for the day. And looks down and goes, I mean, I'm in my robe, I'm in a bathrobe.
but that's my outfit, by the way, guys. Now that's an outfit. That's an ensemble.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like she finally was like, I get it now.
Lord, I would like to say that I think it's good parenting. We put him first. So we wake up, I pump, Ted feeds him at the same time. So like 8 a.m., let's say, pump and feed, go, divide and conquer. Then we obviously keep him upright so he doesn't spit up everywhere. That's a good 10, 15 minutes after the feed. And then once he's done with the whole maybe spit up window, we get him to the changing table. It's really good to establish like a daytime, nighttime routine. So like we change him every morning, pajamas every night. So we change him, clean him, fresh diaper, fresh outfit. He's ready to go. By the time that's done, it's like 9:30, sometimes 10.
Mhm.
Okay, so we're still in pajamas. We've not brushed our teeth, washed our faces. We've not had breakfast, but he's like fully clean, dressed, fed, ready for the day. And I'm like, We put him first, as we should. Obviously, he's a baby who can't fend for himself. But by the time like I'm getting dressed, sometimes it is noon. Okay, so right now it's 2 p.m. I have fed him twice now, clothed him, everything, burped him. He's chilling now. He's in his boppy. I did a workout this morning, so I could have changed, but I was like, no, I'm gonna like do a workout. That's why I'm still in pajamas.
Well, at least you're in cute matching ones.
I'm in matching PJs, but like, oh, and I fed myself. I made protein waffles for Gaga and I this morning. So like we have eaten, but like I have not brushed my teeth or changed my outfit. But everything else is handled. So I'm like, I'm putting him first. I'm putting like I obviously I have to eat because I'm pumping. So like I can't
Yeah.
not eat. But
Mhm.
Lord, let me tell you, sometimes I'm in these pajamas until I have to leave the house.
If anyone personally knows Bridget and is thinking, what does she need around Christmas? Cute lounge sets and matching pajamas so she could feel good about herself while not dressing until 2 p.m.
Lounge sets. I think that's like motherhood of the future, unless everyone already does that and I'm just like totally behind. Lounge sets. Mm.
I mean, I heard about that when I was pregnant with Jack, but John's cheap and we were way poorer back then. So, but yeah, no, someone said if you want to feel better about yourself in motherhood, always have a ton on hand, different colors, matching lounge sets. Lounge sets is where it's at. Gotta get you some, girl.
I know. I think that'd be so nice, especially because with a child, not that people don't tell you, they give you like a day or two notice, but people pop in and sometimes you literally just like don't have time for like a, visit. So you're like, I just need to throw anything on.
Yeah. Well, especially like with pumping and breastfeeding moms, it's like you're like always having to whip a titty out and be a cow.
Yeah.
So,
Also, now that I would like to highlight what Marissa sent to me this morning. So, where is this? There's something called Beyond the Baby Blues Mom to Mom Support Group. And every
mhm.
Tuesday, it's Zoom. You join Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern time. And it's on Beyond Baby Blues is their handle for Instagram. So if anyone's interested in that, Marissa sent it to me this morning. I think that's such a great idea, and I would
Yeah.
like to make everyone aware.
Yeah, I think if you need that extra support, even if you're just like, I just need some social interaction with other mothers who have babies so that I don't feel bad if they hear my baby getting fussy, it's nice to have that village.
And also, like, if you have a lot of friends who don't have children, sometimes you feel weird, like, venting about, like, simple things. But, like, when you say it to a mom, they're just like, oh my God, I get it. Like, I totally get it. That we've
Mhm.
been there, done that. Don't worry. That's normal. Whereas if you are
Mhm.
venting to your friends without children, they're just like, okay, like, I don't know, and you kind of
Yeah.
feel like the old maid.
I will say, and as Ted probably attests, this having a kid has aged them like 20 to 30 years. Poor Ted's back is blown out. He's just struggling to survive.
I know, honestly, we're so old now.
If you ask them to hang out now, they're like, if it's past 8 p.m., we will not be attending.
We have to plan when we can watch a movie. Dude, a movie. We're like, okay, he's down. Turn the movie on now.
And go.
How pathetic is that?
Wait till you want to have a baby number two and you have to plan when to actually have it, like this, the act of it making.
Oh my God. That is so far from my mind.
According to the football game yesterday, you will have another kid in 2 years.
And I will curse you forever for that.
Woohoo! But yeah, so it's important when you're having kids, keep a village around. It is, you will notice, especially if you're the first of your friend groups to have kids, that they can't relate to you. And they're not, it's nothing on them, nothing on you. And you see them still have their freedom and still do crazy last minute decisions and go out maybe till 2 to 3 a.m., maybe even after a wedding and after party. It is what it is. They get to. They're free.
Hmm.
Live your life. Run.
I actually was thinking about this. If people were ever like, when do you know you're ready to have a kid, whatever, because you're never ready. You just have to like do it if you want them. If you want them, you just do it. But I would say when you, like, all my friends pretty much, not all of them, but a lot of my friends still live in the city and they still use the city. You know you're ready for kids when you don't really use the city anymore. Like Ted and we lived right in the heart of Manchester. We didn't go out that often anymore. Like
Mm,
occasionally for a couple beers, but it was like, we're nothing like when we first moved there and we'd be out to dinner once a week, maybe twice a week. We'd go to bars after work for a couple of drinks. Like we just weren't doing that anymore. And that's when we were like, oh, actually, like we could totally adjust to a quieter pace for a bit because we're not going out that often. If you're still like a couple that has plans every Saturday with your friends, maybe you host a dinner once a week, you go out late at night, like you have to be willing to say goodbye to all that. And we're chill parents. Like we take Theo with us everywhere because we're like, we're not going to not live our lives. Like we'll just take him with us. Like we've gone
mhm.
out to eat with him next to us. But like you have to be willing to know that you can't live like that anymore because you'll just be too fucking tired. It's not like
Yeah.
you can't because you're a parent now, so you can't have fun. You still can have fun, and you can still have your own identity and definitely carve out time for yourself, but you just will
Yeah.
not have the time or the energy to
Yeah.
do it.
Yes, yes. I didn't know if I was even going to talk about this, but because, it wasn't on our mind. But now that you brought it, it brings me to another point. I do think it's nice that we're really coming up on a generation of very involved and present fathers, more so than I feel like the older generations have been. Because in motherhood, for me, it's been so essential when John's been like, you need a girls' night? You don't even have to ask. You just need to let me know when I'm watching these kids. Never told me no to any girls' trip, even when we actually were not as financially stable as we were now. I mean, he would make it work, he would budget it for me. And even just a trip, just us two without the kids, he has never said no to that either. These are all things that are super important. You need to still have time with your girls and even your spouse away. But unfortunately, this is not always possible when we don't have a great partner. So please, please, women, marry smart, pick your best friend for life, pick a great husband and a great father, not someone who just wants a wife and a kid, someone who actually wants to be a husband and a father. That's very important, ladies. Listen back to that, re-listen to this on the podcast because they're very different things. Sometimes men like the image, but they don't want to actually put in the work. It's important you marry someone who wants to be in the thick of it with you, supportive as always, because otherwise being a parent, especially if you have multiples, it's rough. It's rough out there.
Oh my God. Even something as simple as I got a mani-pedi the day before the wedding. And I was like, okay,
Mhm.
I'll be gone for like 2 hours. I'm really sorry. And Ted was like, it's okay. Like, you need to relax. You need to do things like that. It's fine. Like, go get a manicure, pedicure, come back. And I was like, okay. And I was like, of course, watching the camera. Like, he was like, stop watching, relax.
Yes, yes, yeah. Because I mean, I've heard stories of like people in older generations being like, "Well, if I wanted to go out, my husband was like, well, who's watching the kids, or are you taking them with you?" I personally could not imagine if my husband spoke to me like that because we would be divorced because you're not going to talk to me like that.
Our husbands together are going to the opening night of Devils game this week. Devils home opener.
Mm-hmm.
Ted was like, "Is that okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, like you gotta have fun because we have that, and then we have a wedding the next night, another wedding." So I'm like, "Yeah, like we need to have fun. Like we have to make time for ourselves. Otherwise, you will completely lose your identity." And I'm not gonna lie, you lose probably a part of yourself when you have kids because they just like occupy a lot of your brain. But like you can't lose touch with who you are as a person. Like I lived for 30 whole years without Theo. Like I'm
Hmm.
still a person who needs to look after myself.
Exactly. Exactly. Personally, it makes me a better mother. When I have time for myself, I am more present. I use my phone less as an escape. And I just am not like on edge and like an angry, like someone who's just like on the verge of yelling at all times. Like I'm actually calmer.
Yeah, now that I've had like a night's sleep, we slept
Hmm.
well last night. I feel like a different person. Whereas I was going on 2 nights of no sleep, I was getting so irritable with everyone. Like I was just like, I'm sorry, but like I am sleep deprived. I need to fucking close my eyes. And now that I have done that, I'm a new person.
And Katie just said that yesterday to you. She's like, once you get past that stretch, you're like a new woman.
Oh my, he slept for 5 hours last night, guys. Like as a
Oof.
stretch. Oh my God. And the thing is, I don't know what it was, but when I closed my eyes, I was down. Whereas most nights, even if he's sleeping, I'm like just kind of staring. Like I'm sleeping, but very lightly. Last night, it was like he's down, I'm down. Boom. Oh, felt good.
Nice. I love that for you.
Thank you.
So, but yeah, so well, we did ask Jerry some questions about the nut allergy thing. So we'll get to Jer Bear's section and we'll let Bridget read the answers for you. So here we go. We asked Jerry, was the nut allergy very common when raising her 3 kids? If so, how did she deal with it?
She said that it really wasn't as prevalent back then because we were in school in the late 90s and then the early 2000s and stuff when we were young. So it wasn't really as prevalent then. And then when I was coming out of my age, so when Bridget was coming out of middle school, their St. Joseph's grade school in Toms River had a nut free table. And that was it. It was in the same cafeteria with everybody else. There was just a sign on it that with a peanut and then like a cross through it. So so with her first 2 kids, like she didn't really have to deal with that. But with Michael, she remembers more of like daycare being nut free and stuff. But yeah, it wasn't as prevalent and it definitely wasn't like a hot topic at the time.
Right, right. Next question. If it was the same issue and they decided to send you a letter home saying you need to use alternatives and we are now peanut free, how would you have handled that?
Would have handled it fine. It would have been a bit inconvenient. Obviously, kids are picky. Kids can be really difficult. Kids can just smell something's different and be like, no, I don't want it. you know that kids are weird, but ultimately, like, your child's health is more important, and wouldn't risk that, and she would have just found an alternative, like we always do. And you kind of fib to your kids. Your kids don't want to try something. You go, oh no, this is red top peanut butter. This is peanut butter, but the can has the red top on it. Oh yeah, and they just kind of like believe you. So she would have made it
Yeah.
work and adapted. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, she was very good like that. And I will say, me and all my siblings are great eaters. We eat all kinds of things. We are not afraid to try new things. And I do think that's really all due to Jerry and how she raised us and opened our horizons. So she really did good on that front. And I could see why it wouldn't bother her. She might have been like, oh, all right, whatever. But yeah, she would just be like, and now we're going to be eating this, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't want to hear a peep. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that we were definitely you can't complain at the table type of. But she would just lie, like pork roll. Every kid does, like, come on, pork roll is so good. If you're not from like the New Jersey area, you don't know what that is. But anyway, it's delicious. And to get Michael to try it when he was a kid, she just said they're flat hot dogs, and he was like, "Oh,
Mhm.
flat hot dog, yeah, all right." And then what she told your kid, that's Canadian bacon, because they love
Well,
bacon.
Evelyn thinks it's a flat hot dog, though.
Oh, okay.
And that's actually how she eats it. And I laugh hysterically that my mom has one-upped her, because otherwise Evelyn literally refuses. And I'm like, hee, 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 hee. So, but yeah, you really adapt, honestly. And she also, like she said, it was a little different back then. So she didn't have to worry about the same kinds of things. But I have no doubt that she would have easily adapted, like she said.
Yeah, like we were saying earlier, parenthood is being able to think on your feet and find alternatives, because guess what? Things do not go according to plan when you're a parent. Pretty much every day
Never.
is like a new little challenge. We're like, how am I going to deal with this? And but a worthwhile challenge.
Worthwhile challenge.
Yeah.
So, hoping if anyone is listening out there really needed this, or is a new mother and is really feeling lonely and like they're losing that village and maybe part of their identity, just know we empathize with you, and we're here. We're really friendly. You could DM us. You could, whatever you want to reach us, we will absolutely reach back out.
Yeah.
And you got to find what really works for you and the people who can be supportive. I'm glad Bridget shared where to go for the Zoom link for Tuesday meetings if you really need the extra support. And yeah, just let us know what you'd like to hear. And again, we appreciate all of our listeners as usual. Please like, subscribe, and follow us at Psychotic PY Podcast. You can even give us a follow over at YouTube to subscribe for us. So with that, thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate you. And Theo says over and out, because he's got a poopy diaper.
Well then, bye-bye.
Bye.